everyone, and welcome to another episode of Mod Pod with Fukunaga,
a podcast that celebrates the strength and pulse of the luxury market. And now, here's your host, Vanessa Fukunaga.
And today's special guest is Mr. Michael Darko, the owner, founder, CEO, general, everything of Farrington Jets. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to Los Cabos. It's your first time.
My very first time, and I'm loving it.
But we actually first kind of met at our Ocean Blue World Formula One party in Mexico City.
Yeah, it was a fantastic party. I was saying it's probably the best event I've been to so far in Mexico City. And I'm sure it's only going to be beat by the next one.
It is. You're coming.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Oh, we're already planning.
I've already invited myself.
Okay. I like it. Now, do we all get to fly in privately?
I mean, we could discuss that.
Okay.
We could arrange that.
At least me.
Yeah, of course. Arrive in style.
Arrive in style. Exactly. Now, look, today we're in, as we usually are, in La Boutique in Las Ventanas. You haven't been to Cabo, so you haven't been here.
Nope.
This is their speakeasy, and it is the exclusive speakeasy. I don't even want to say bar, lounge, show. I don't want to give it away because it's so exclusive, but we will come back tonight, FYI. But we're doing it a little bit earlier. Normally we have a signature cocktail from La Boutica, but today, it's going to be so hard not to do an impersonation. But today, because you're from Londres, we are going to have tea and biscuits.
Ooh,
so I think we also have some biscuits for you. All right. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Digestives.
Digestives. Now, tell me, would you mind pouring our tea for us?
Yes, of course.
Now, tell me the traditional timing for tea. Do you have tea and biscuits every day?
No, I wish I could say I do, but no, I don't. At least not the biscuits. I probably have tea almost every day.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. At a particular time? Thank you.
For me, definitely in the morning when I wake up, I have to have tea. Mm-hmm. And probably 3 more times during the day.
You were born in the UK,
yes,
right?
I was born in London.
Born and raised in London, and your parents are from Ghana?
From Ghana, yes, exactly.
So tell me a little bit about that. First of all, we'll do a little toast. Would you take cream?
Yes, I do. Do you take cream as well?
I do if you do. Thank you.
That's it.
Perfect. Gracias.
My pleasure.
I suppose do you toast for tea?
I mean, for today we can.
Today we can, okay.
Cheers.
Cheers. Okay.
That's some good tea.
That is good. And we just had, and next time maybe you'll have to come because we had a little bit of our own take on a tea party here in Los Cabos. So Ocean Blue had a little tea party for the ladies, and it was really, really fun.
Oh, nice.
So tell me about being born in London, raised by parents from Ghana. Tell me about that.
I think it's been very multicultural. I think similar to a lot of people who are in London, but more so in the sense of I had a lot of Ghanaian culture embedded in me growing up. So what was it like? Where to start? So a lot of the time I was actually raised partially by my grandma as well, whilst my parents were studying, working, etc., trying to find their feet and support their families. So I had even more of a traditional take, let's say, especially from my grandmother. And in a sense, we had a lot of Ghanaian dishes. That was one thing.
Like what?
So jollof rice, fufu, kenke, a lot of just ethnic dishes in our household.
Okay.
Apart from that, I guess there's always been the idea of Ghana as home. So I always say that I'm a Ghanaian that just happened to be born in London, just because I guess that's always been referred to as home in the household. So yeah, I don't know what much I could say about that.
So tell me about growing up in London. How long were you there?
Yeah, so I grew up in London. I lived there until I was 20 years old. What to add? It was just a typical life, I think. It was very enjoyable. I love London. When I got old enough, I enjoyed the nightlife a lot more as well. The social scene's amazing. Have you spent much time in London?
I have. I love London. Now, but you were 14, weren't you, when you took your first pilot lesson? Is that true?
Yes. So,
who was that? Your idea? Your parents' idea?
I think it was my idea. I pushed them to let me join the RAF Cadets. So that's the Royal Air Force Cadets of the UK.
Okay.
So it's essentially a scheme where young people get to have an experience of the Air Force, understand what it's about, learn about aviation, and go on obstacle courses, drills, camps, etc. So we had the full shebang. It wasn't just the aviation lessons.
Oh, I didn't know that. So is that where you kind of started your love for planes, or how far did you take the lessons and all of that?
So it started way before that, actually. So I've been in love with aviation for as long as I could remember. I was building model airplanes. I was going to aviation museums, flight simulators, everything. So not to sound like a nerd, but
I almost said it and I didn't want to.
Yeah, you're letting me bring out my deepest, darkest secrets. So yeah.
A stylish nerd.
A stylish nerd, thank you. So yes, the Royal Air Force Cadets was a bit of a natural move. I can't remember how I first heard about it, but I definitely remember pushing my mum, can I go? Can I join? Can I join? Because it was just another thing that got added onto the list of after-school activities, etc., hobbies. So I absolutely loved it. I think I was very fortunate with my very first aviation experience through them, because I was with an off-duty, or not even off-duty, a RAF pilot. So my first lesson included the flying inverted, doing strategic stores, doing loops. It was just exhilarating. It just really cemented my passion for aviation.
Oh my gosh. And did your parents push you in school because you found yourself in finances and in that kind of industry? How did that come about? Were your parents really strict about school time?
School, yes. I think it's always been a big focus. Education's a big thing for a lot of members of my family, or pretty much most of my family. My mum always refers to it as a thing that can never be taken away from you.
True.
So it's always been a big focus. I quite enjoyed school as well. So it was never really a pain learning. I just loved it.
Okay. And why did you leave London?
Why? It was just an experience. So at the time I was working in a state agency.
What?
A state agency, or real estate, as you call it.
Oh, real estate. As I would know. Okay.
As you
real
would know.
estate. Okay. Yeah. I'm glad I clarified. Yes.
Yes.
What were you doing?
I was doing sales. Yeah, sales in London.
You do realize you're not going back anywhere. You're not leaving Cabo.
Yeah, can I work this now?
Yes, you can. So what were you doing? You were selling?
I was selling properties. So this was in the UK, so it was more family homes at the time. And I got to a point of just applying for a new job within the city. And there's a job board called Reed. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. I don't know if it's international or not. But it was one of those job boards that made life really easy for applying. You uploaded your CV, you wrote a cover letter, and that was it. And then you just click apply, apply, apply. So typed in a estate agency, and all of the real estate jobs came up. And I saw a couple in Dubai, and I was like, oh, apply, apply, apply. And that was it. I wasn't really expecting to get a call back. At that time, I hadn't had too much experience in the industry, and it was hard enough getting a job in the UK. I literally had to offer my services for free before I got offered a real estate job. So.
Oh, then you can definitely work for me.
It's for free, 100%. So before I knew it, I had a couple of job interviews for jobs based in Dubai. And then I had 2 job offers within about 4 weeks. And so, wow, what do I do? Am I going to take it? I hadn't lived outside of the UK at that point.
Yeah.
And then I thought, what's the worst that could happen? At the end of the day, it would just be a very expensive holiday. So I flew out, and I absolutely loved it. And probably till this point, it was the most life-changing decision I made in terms of my career. Yeah.
And after Dubai, so you're in Dubai, and how long were you there?
I was there altogether for over 3 years, about 3.5 years, and it was an experience. It was completely different from estate agency back home in the UK, because instead of maybe posing the property to families, new families, families looking to upsize, couples, etc., dreaming about how they could come home to the fireplace, the kids playing in the garden. It was very investment focused.
Okay.
It was a lot of the time sight unseen. What's the square footage? What's the ROI? What's the rental yield, etc. So some of my clients I'd never met in person. It was just literally all online, phone calls, etc.
Wow.
It was a booming market. So it was really more so investment based.
Wow.
And then I got headhunted into finance.
Okay.
So I got that call from actually someone who used to work in real estate, and I knew personally, and he was working for a finance company, and he said, hey, this is amazing, but the Dubai property market is unlike any property market in the world, in a sense of anyone from outside who come in without them having to prove the local talent isn't there. The I guess the volume of transactions as well, just how quickly the properties were being turned over. Someone would literally not even see a property, receive pictures, receive the square footage, not even be in the country, and transfer the funds within 2 days, and the sale's complete within a week, which is unheard of in the UK. So,
oh my gosh.
Again, they really just drummed it in that this is either Dubai or nothing. You're not going to get this anywhere else. So I bought the dream. And I went in and I started learning. I was learning from the best really there, which was amazing. I was behind the desk. I was doing financial studies on the side. So eventually I got my qualifications by the CISI, and then it was time to actually get cracking. And at that point, I was done with Dubai.
Oh my God. You did all that in 3 years. Okay. So you're done with Dubai. And then what?
I was really looking for more. So Dubai is a fantastic place. One of an experience that I'll never forget. Absolutely loved it. But I really wanted more culture. I wanted more of a challenge in that sense. During that period, I'd taken a holiday to Colombia.
That's vacation for the Americans.
A vacation. It's so funny because when I go back and I throw words like vacation into my vocabulary with friends, like, what's going on?
I can't help myself. Okay, so you went on holiday to...
I went on holiday to Colombia. I spent about 3 weeks there.
And again, why Colombia? I'm so interested why people choose the different countries.
Yeah, so I'd accumulated about 3 to 4 weeks of vacation time from my company. And I really wanted to experience somewhere that was hard to get to from the Middle East. Okay. And Dubai specifically is a major hub for Africa, for Asia. It's easy enough to get to Europe. So it was the Americas that was literally the best place to get to from the UK, where I was already spending the Christmas period, to somewhere else that wasn't as easy from the Middle East. And it was the Americas. One of my good friends, I was actually in the cadets with him. He recommended Colombia as well. So he had family in Colombia. I already knew his parents. I had met them previously. His grandparents, his aunts, uncles, etc. were based in Cali, Colombia. So they really took me in. I'll never forget the drive up to their farm in a town called Pance, just outside of Cali, Colombia. I had a little crisis. They don't know about that. So if they do hear this, I was going.
They will hear this.
I was going past the mountains. And I completely lost all signal. There was no signal on my phone. There was no Wi-Fi. I found out that I committed to 2 days up in the mountains with no connection to the outside world. And it was a bit anxiety driven. I don't know how it felt. I don't think I'd been through any experience where I'd been more than a few hours without telephone signal. So it was an amazing experience because it really allowed me to disconnect. I spent most of one of the days just playing in the river with his little cousins, just really wholesome experiences that really reminded me more about life and the experiences to be had in life that you don't always get in major bustling cities like London, Dubai, etc.
What a difference. Yeah. And then what happened?
During my time there, one of my contacts in finance said that he had a contact that was based in Colombia. Do I want to have a chat with him if I really love Colombia that much and see where it goes? Before I knew it, I was offered a job in Colombia. And again, back to the same situation of I signed up for it even less so than when I was applying for jobs. Do I want to take this or not? And it was all fantastic. I really loved the idea. I fell in love with the idea, but there was an issue with visas at the time. So I went back to Dubai and I couldn't get the idea of living in Colombia out of my head. And then eventually I made the move over.
Wow. And did you speak the language at that point?
No, I did not speak the language. I spoke nothing more than Duolingo had taught me in about 4 weeks. So it was really tough. I've got so many stories. I remember going around the city trying to ask for scissors, not knowing how to say scissors. I'll never forget tijeras. I'll never forget that word now. So it's been a fun learning curve.
I like how you say tijeras. Tijeras. I love that. No. I love the accent. Yeah. When you and Kate speak, it is the best. Speak Spanish, it kills me. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And so how long were you in Colombia? So you are back in finance again. Yeah, back in finance. Loved Colombia. I was there for about 3.5 to 4 years. And I only ended up in Mexico because of the pandemic. It was a bit of an accident. Yeah. I always believe things happen in the way they're meant to happen. Exactly. I really do. So how did you end up in Mexico because of the pandemic? So we went through a very tough lockdown, a very strict lockdown. In Colombia? In Colombia. So for about 4 months, you could only go out depending on the number of your ID and the ending number of your ID. So it would give you about 2 to 3 days a week that you could go out. And when you could go out, the only places you could go to were the supermarket,
the pharmacy, or the bank. So I really didn't have many options. And as an expat, you start to really realize once the social life is taken away in a time like that, there's not much left.
Yeah.
So I was usually so busy throughout the week, throughout the weekends with work, social life, friends, etc. But that all came to an end. And it opened up after 4 months, kind of. So there was some outside dining, etc. Really just getting used to outside life again, post-pandemic life. And then there was a new strain out. I believe it was Delta at the time, and everything was about to close again. So I was like, nope, not going to do it again. So where can I go? Brazil probably would have been my first choice, but at that specific time, it was probably the worst place to go in the world at the time of the pandemic. Then it was Panama, but Panama was closed to tourism, and it was just looking on the map. And I'd had so many amazing things from Mexico, but I don't
That's
know.
right.
I don't know why it didn't jump out as an obvious option, but it was an open option, and I took it. And again, haven't looked back.
And you went directly to Mexico City?
No, so I went to Playa del Carmen. I booked 2 days in Playa del Carmen. I didn't know where I was going next, but I heard it was the most open place in the entire country.
Okay.
So I thought, okay, if there's a lot of people moving around the country that are going to be in Playa del Carmen, I should be able to get a good idea of where to go and at what point to go. So I did 2 days, which led on to about 5 months. And it took a hurricane, I believe it was Hurricane Grace, to get me to say, okay, it's time to hit the city.
Oh my gosh. Say. Did you like Playa del Carmen? I love Playa del Carmen. It's beautiful. It's different.
I loved it. I think it was amazing for the period of time. It was just so open compared to what I was used to prior in regards to what you can do. It was almost like there was a pandemic, which was quite interesting to step into. There were amazing people there that were taking advantage of remote working from the States, from Europe, etc. So it was amazing for networking, and I loved it. I'll definitely keep popping in, but I don't see myself living there.
Yeah. And you never thought about going back to London? Never once?
No.
It's interesting. When I moved away I grew up in Ogden, Utah.
Okay.
I didn't know where I was going to go or what I was going to do.
Yeah.
I just knew I was destined for something else.
Yeah.
You know, and I never looked back. So no matter what, and the best thing I did was moving away when I moved to the New York area. Like you, it just changed my life.
Definitely. I think we always take our homes for granted. You kind of go on autopilot through a lot of things, but when you live somewhere so different, especially like Mexico, where Spanish isn't our first language and a constant challenge, learning the culture, learning the different business norms, that's the stuff I find exciting. It feels fulfilling.
Me too. And so, so what brought you over to Mexico City then?
Mexico City. So I always pretty much knew I was going to end up in Mexico City, out of Mexico, it being a business hub.
Sure.
That's why I flew over to Mexico City. And
then, so what was the impetus for Farrington Jets? How did the whole thing get started? You're the founder. Yeah. You love aviation, model airplanes. Since you were a kid, you're in the, what did you call it?
In the Royal Air Force Cadets.
Yes, the cadets. And so how did Farrington Jets come about, and why Farrington?
Yeah. Okay. So why
not Darko?
Why not Darko Jets? Okay, let me start from the beginning. So with Farrington Jets, so the initial dream growing up with everything to do with aviation was to become an airline pilot. So even when I started working, it was to help get the money together to go to pilot school. That was a dream. Even the courses I studied in college, etc., it was all focused on becoming an airline pilot. So at the time, the funds weren't easily accessible. So I said, okay, I'm going to go out and I'm going to start working and I'm going to help contribute to the family's efforts to get me through pilot school. Okay. So when I started off in a state agency, of course, that was always the plan. When I went to Dubai and I accepted a job offer, the goal was, okay, I'm going to save more money, tax-free, and then I'm going to go to pilot school. A lot of pilots were in my network, whether it was via work, whether it was my neighbor was a pilot actually, other aircrew as well, the aircrew I would meet socially, etc. And I'd always express my dream, excited to talk to them about aviation. And every single pilot actually counted not too long ago. There were 14 pilots that I'd had a real conversation with.
Oh my gosh.
And only one of them told me that I was on the right path. Yeah. The others, they just said no, that, they weren't happy about their jobs, that it's not what I think it would be. They really made me sit down and realize, yes, the pilot lessons of flying inverted and doing loops definitely would be nothing like becoming an airline pilot. So of course, I know it's everyone's personal preference, but it just really had me thinking. And the fact that I was living in Dubai, it really exposed me to a different type of wealth. a different type of opportunity, really seeing people. There was someone who worked at my office, for example, who bought multiple Range Rovers just because he wanted the exact same car in different colors. That type of opulence didn't really appeal to me personally, but it opened up the dream to me of, actually, why not just have my own aircraft, my own personal fleet of aircraft potentially, and that would be how I spend my weekends. So it may not be the day job, but I'll be able to replicate the experiences I've had previously within aviation.
So how do you, it's a little bit of a sidetrack, but please have your tea if you'd like. I'm obsessed with the TV show Shark Tank.
Shark Tank.
So how would you tell some of the younger people out there and entrepreneur wannabes, how did you get started when you took this idea, but then you ended up founding a company? What did you actually do?
So fast forward to the beginning of 2020, it was really just a point in time when I was trying to really work out, what do I want to do for the rest of my life? How do I mix my actual passion with my skills and knowledge and network that I've built over the years? And it was literally just brainstorming. It was on a whiteboard, just going through different ideas, different skill sets, different qualities, who do I know, etc. And it came down to private jet charter. One of my friends over in Bogota is part of a private security company.
Okay.
And they are one of the largest in Latin America. They do a lot of business all the way from Mexico through to Argentina and beyond, actually. And they've had a lot of inquiries for private jet charter. So they also helped reinforce the fact that there was a need, but they're not only for that, but a need in secure travel. After living in Colombia for a few years and dealing with some high net worth individuals, you really understand that security is usually the top of their criteria of their needs list and top of their concerns. And that's how Farrington Jets, with the focus on private security, came around.
So tell me about the focusing on private security. What kind of aspects does Farrington Jets offer that surround security?
Definitely.
Make it different.
It's perfect. So we've partnered with some major security players, including my friend's company, as I mentioned. So they manage a lot of the security for us, our first point of call for Latin America. And then beyond that, we work with ex-Secret Service agents in the US as well. So really the top end of security. So we want to deal mainly with government officials, with politicians, people with a real need to care about their security. So that starts within the air as well. So when it comes to private jet charter, we really have a level of quality that all of our clients can expect. So there are, let's say, aircraft from the 80s, the 90s. They will get you from A to B, hopefully, but they may not be the most comfortable for our clientele. They may not be up to the level of standard that our clients are looking for when looking for a private jet security company. In regards to AOC, in regards to the maintenance logs, we look and we really do our research to make sure that all of the fleet, whether it's taking off from Jebel Ali in the UAE, or whether it's Pakistan, whether it's the UK or here in Mexico, they really meet our quality standards. So that's all that takes place in the air. Then on the ground as well, through our partners, we offer risk assessment. So it's great for corporate executives, making sure that their insurance policy is fulfilled. It could be ground transport, so secure ground transport, whether that's in armored or unarmored vehicles. In regards to close protection agents and executive protection, are they going to be armed or unarmed? Really depending on what the client's going for. So as far as for clients flying for yacht charters, are they looking for security on their yachts? Are they going into international waters? Who are going to be the best security for them? So for example, in that case, it would be ex-US Navy SEALs. And they'll be providing the security because they're the absolute best when it comes to maritime security. Yes.
Fascinating. What interesting people you must be meeting as well, right?
Some very interesting people, some very interesting stories, and that has to be one of the best parts about this.
Oh my gosh, and stories you probably have to keep to yourself until dinner tonight.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, how fun. And so how do people find Farrington Jets? So how are they getting a hold of you guys?
Word of mouth has been fantastic. So it's been, I think we're the only ones in our space that actually do what we do to the level in which we do it. So
I've never heard of another company that does it to this level, because everybody, we're hiring private jet companies and, typically doing it by, I suppose, cost and, the type of plane and making sure it's secure. But, the normal person isn't needing that level of security or thinking about needing it.
Exactly.
I think that maybe some people don't actually realize that they should have that, or that it's something that they should inquire about.
Exactly. It's definitely worth looking into. It's always easy to have a company that has the links to different parts of the world as well. So, for example, your own security detail in a specific place, let's just say LA as an example, may not be the best to provide security for you in Guatemala. They don't know the local terrain, they don't know the local security situation. They could try their best, but no one's going to know as much as a security agent that has been working there day in, day out for their whole lives, essentially.
Right.
And then how do you find the right security company? The same with the aircraft as well. You may have your specific charter company that you fly through Europe with, but how well can they help you in Colombia, let's say? Yeah.
Oh my God, it's going to remind me of every action movie I've ever seen. Oh my gosh. So typically word of mouth, and you've got probably royals and people that are just flying very discreetly.
Word of mouth. We work with government agencies as well, large companies and corporations. So they always recommend us because those people that need those security services, they tend to know other people who need the same type of security services. Our partners have been absolutely fantastic. So for example, our yacht partners, our lifestyle concierge, our travel concierge companies, they know what to expect with us and they love using us. And in that regard, we may have one point of contact, but then it opens up the door to 50 more clients. So it's amazing.
When you do a good job, though, and this level, I mean, you can't do anything but have a phenomenal reputation.
Exactly. With aviation and with security, there's not so much room for mistake.
No.
So everything has to be on point.
And can people fly anywhere, or can they use their services anywhere in the world?
Yes, so we have a network of operators who have the private jets under their operation. So we know which ones are the best in regards to service, in regards to fulfilling our criteria to then pass on to our clients. So some days we have flights flying again from London to Pakistan, Singapore to Hong Kong, and the same exact day we have clients flying from Canada through to Los Cabos, and then Mexico City through to Argentina. So yeah, we could cover pretty much the whole world.
God, can you believe growing up in London, loving airplanes, where your life is now? Do you ever just look back and reflect and think you actually made it all come true?
Almost every day. I'm very grateful. That's something that I always find time for, just realizing how far I've come, how lucky I've been, and also just the people around me and how they've helped me get to the position I'm in now. So,
it's true. It's not done just by one person.
Yeah, exactly.
And what do your parents think? Do they travel with you?
No, I think they're proud.
Of course.
So specifically my mum, she does not like small planes. She does not have the passion for aviation that I do. So this definitely isn't her type of thing.
Her cup of tea?
Her cup of tea. Conversations I've had with my dad, he's definitely been interested in aviation, etc. So yeah, it's been a mixed bag, but I think overall people are proud.
Oh, of course they are. How often do you guys get back to Ghana?
So we try as often as possible. My mum at the moment, she goes quite frequently. My dad lives there. Unfortunately, I haven't been going as frequently as I would have liked, especially over the past few years, and I blame that on COVID. But we've already got a trip planned for Ghana, Nigeria, and Senegal for this December.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I've never been. What would you say is the one thing that you really should do when going to Ghana, or a few top things that you should see or do?
So Labadi Beach is a popular tourist attraction. I definitely recommend you to be there.
Okay.
Cape Coast Castle is great for history as well. It's a bit of a drive outside of Accra, the capital, but definitely worth visiting. And just the cuisine, the social life, the nightlife, I definitely recommend it. And right now, December and January has its reputation of bringing all the tourists in, so it's probably the most popular time. And yeah, you're more than welcome to visit. I'd love to host you one time.
Oh, fun. I would love that. Now, you know, Kate and you both grew up in London. Yeah. So on Mod Pod with Fukunaga, we always have what we call the Mod Pod experience. So don't judge, but this is all Kate's idea. Yeah. I have different little activities for different people, but what I don't know if I'm going to get through this without laughing. What she thought would be really interesting, and to test how well you are versed in the in Cockney rhyming slangs.
Oh, I'm going to do terrible at this. Thank you, Kate.
Oh my gosh. Okay, here we go. Okay, so you're going to tell me what this means.
Okay.
Ready? Oh, I can't. I wish I could say it with an inappropriate accent. Here we go. Hold on. First of all, before we do this, I was going to say, now why, you don't call this a biscuit, you call it a digestive?
Digestive biscuits, yeah. It's a brand of biscuits.
Oh, it's a brand of biscuits.
Yeah.
Digestive just doesn't sound that appealing.
I mean, once you taste them, I think that, when you grow up with them, it sounds one of the most appealing things you could have.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, what would you typically have with your tea? A digestive?
A digestive definitely is one of the top options, or rich tea, or personally, my favorite would be custard creams.
Okay. What's a crumpet?
A crumpet.
I was thinking tea and crumpets.
I actually wonder, what's the exact explanation of a crumpet?
Like a biscuit?
No.
Scone?
No. How would you describe it? What's it actually meant?
Oh.
I just ate them.
You did?
No, not today, but I eat them, but I just don't actually know how to describe
my God,
them.
this is good. Okay, well, we'll say that you lost on the first one because you didn't know what a crumpet was. I don't either, but that's okay. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Bees and honey.
Oh, no. Bees and honey.
You don't know what that means?
I just think tummy. I don't know.
It means money, as money, bees are the epitome of work, and produces money, the possession of which is sweet.
In my defense, this is a different side of London. This is East London, but I'll try my best.
Oh my gosh, now he's thrown Kate to the other side of London. Here we go. Oh, okay. I knew something was going to be up with this. All right, well, let's try this one. Box of toys.
Oh no, box of toys.
Okay, I'll just tell you. Here we go. Noise.
See, I'm thinking what rhymes with box of toys.
Box of toys. As a box of toys, particularly a new one, given as a present at Christmas time, causes a great deal of noise to be made. Okay.
Yeah.
Bottle and stopper?
Oh, no. Come on, Kate.
Oh, my gosh. You know what? Okay. A policeman?
Bobby?
Bottle. A Bobby. Bottle meaning to enclose, and a stopper meaning one who holds another back from a course of action. You know what? It's. You would think that we're in Mexico and there's Spanish versus English, but this is all in English and it doesn't even make sense. Okay, last two. Here we go. Dog and bone? No. Okay.
Moan?
Nope. Are you on the phone?
Phone. Okay, phone, right?
Oh my God, I'm going to die because you didn't get any. So you will have to give me some in just a minute. Penny, come quick. Do you know that one? It's a trick. It's a trick of confidence, which, if successful, makes for easy money. Now, tell me some key rhymes or phrases from your area of London that we'll see that Kate doesn't know as well.
Okay, so Cockney rhyming slang all comes from East London. So from East London. But I could, let's say, apple and pears. Can you guess that one?
Apple and pears. It means the fruits of my labor. I did a good job and I'm seeing the results of my labor.
See, that's very logical. But unfortunately,
but incorrect.
Rhyming slang isn't always logical.
Okay.
Stairs.
Apples and pears mean stairs.
Yeah.
Okay, give me another one. Give me another one.
I need to think about this. Kettle.
Kettle. As in Kettle?
Yeah.
Kettle. As in a pot, and it means that you need to, but you should say it on camera, that you need to go use the restroom.
No, it means watch.
Kettle means watch.
And I'm actually trying to remember why. I believe it's because it rhymes with a certain make of watch, a manufacturer of watch that was popular back then. But yeah, as you could see, I'm not well versed on Cockney rhyming slang.
But that's okay, because we not only, I would say that it's all English speaking, but we can't understand your accent or your phrases either.
So let's pretend like they're all right.
Exactly. It doesn't even matter anyway. Well, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to definitely try to encourage you to spend more time in Cabo.
Yeah.
You're coming to the Formula One, Ocean Blues Formula One party next year in Mexico City.
Yeah.
What's next for Farrington Jets? What do you see next? Because you guys are literally all over the world. You're getting client after client, and the fact that you're doing it by word of mouth is incredibly impressive.
Yeah.
Where do you see your next chapter going?
Definitely. So I think there's still definitely a lot of expansion to be had. We are still a relatively new company in the space, so becoming more of a name within those circles within the industry is part of the agenda, and also adding technology into what we do. We've got some interesting projects on the way, which I will tell you over dinner.
Oh my gosh, you could tell me, but you'd have to kill me, and you know all the Secret Service people. Okay.
Exactly. They could tell me. So,
interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I'll be happy to share that momentarily.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, and I never heard the answer. Why Farrington Jets?
This is actually a funny story and a question that I've had a few times. So living in Colombia, knowing that there was going to be a lot of business to be done in Latin America, I wanted a name that when people would read, they would remember, or UK level of customer service will come to mind. So I had a few different names before Farrington Jets, and I was doing my SEO research, and I realized, this is a bit too similar to this company and that company. So it all came down to having a list of train stations and tube stations in London and pairing it with jets to see which had the most SEO value. And it came down to Farrington Jets.
You're brilliant. Oh my gosh, you're never going to be able to leave. You need to come and work with me. Holy cow, between your real estate sales, technology, finances, and aviation.
Yeah.
I know we just said it before, but can you sometimes pinch yourself and look to see what you've accomplished, and you're not even done?
Yeah, it's very surreal. I like to think it's just the beginning.
Exactly. So, well, here's to you. Thank you so much for coming here,
Cheers.
Michael. It's an absolute pleasure.
I appreciate it.
So take a look at Farrington Jets. Hear it by word of mouth. It's one of the most amazing companies and unique in its space. And stay tuned and check out this episode of Mod Pod with Fukunaga on all your favorite podcast channels.
Thanks for listening to Mod Pod with Fukunaga. Follow the episodes on all major podcast platforms, including Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and many more.